are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast. I'm delighted to take on Twitter. Here to the latest Auburn Athletic news as A-Day was yesterday, and we got to see a first look, or at least a first public look, at what the Auburn Tigers will look like in 2025. I got some pros, I got some cons. I meant to load up some highlights that I was able to record from the sidelines, not the sidelines, but the bleachers. But really a successful day, I must say. I'm going to start off with the bad, and then I'll work my way to the good, because I have way less bad than I do good, because it's kind of hard to really get a full picture of what Auburn looks like going into next season. So with the bad, I mean, it was 8A. It was a spring practice. The offensive line had some issues, I must say. Some of those issues coming from penalties during the scrimmage period, which if you didn't go to 8A, there was I think it was 9 or 10 different periods that we got to watch happen. And whenever the team drill started with the offensive line, there were a lot of whistles that got blown, a lot of false starts. There was a holding call, but I know there was a good chunk of false starts. I want to say about 4 false start penalties that was caused. So during the scrimmages, you had like a 1st and 10, then it was a 1st and 15, then it was a 1st and 20 at one point. And that's just one of my cons from the gameplay aspect of it. I mean, it was a practice. I saw some. It's hard to say, well, dang, the wide receivers couldn't get open, because then that's just a pro on our defensive backs, or, our defensive backs were giving up big plays. Well, that's just a play on how good our wide receiver room is. So it's really hard to get those aspects of it, but the things you have to clean up before the season starts. There were too many times last season where Auburn straight up lost points because of penalties, whether it be on special teams or whether it be on the offense. There were too many times last season where Auburn lost points and ultimately lost games because of penalties. So just something to clean up. I think that's one of the biggest cons from the day. I'll kind of get into some more that kind of bounce off of pros, but that's just my one main con I saw while watching Auburn practice on Saturday. The other thing I got to say, and I think I'm going to go ahead and just get this out of the way before I get into the pros and the meat and potatoes of today's episode. 8A as a whole, I think just kind of has lost its luster in a way through recent years. And I mean, it's been a steady, I don't want to say steady increase in the lack of attention to 8A, because it's not the same as the years prior. And before pre-Harsin, it was 1 versus 2s and 2s versus 1s of the team. It's blue versus orange, or blue versus white, whichever colors are battling out that day. But then you had to kind of mix up with the first 2 years of Hugh Freeze, where the defense started off with points, and it was the offense's job to score more points than the defense already had. And this year, it was straight up not a game. It was practice. It was straight up just a practice. 9 periods. You only really had I want to say about 15 minutes of actual scrimmage time where it was live. But other than that, I mean, I love football too much to say I hated it. I loved it. But I do really miss the whole 8A experience, and a lot of it can be fixed if the NCAA kind of fixed whatever it's wanting to do. I think that a lot of people kind of agree with what Hugh Freeze and what Deion Sanders have said this entire offseason, saying, we can just get rid of the spring game and just make it like a preseason game, in the sense of like the NFL does it, either with how the OTAs are, or just having it my thing could just be a full-on preseason game, like a whole game that happens. But I know Deion said something about trying to get something together with Syracuse and Hugh Freeze. I think I side more with what Hugh Freeze wanted to do with either playing at Alabama State or, get Tuskegee up there. A lot of people are Tuskegee fans around the Auburn area. Get Tuskegee out there. I don't think Auburn's ever played Tuskegee, to my knowledge, at least. That's something I got to look up now that I'm thinking about it. But I think it'd really help out just – the environment, everything in general. Fan day was fun. I'm too old to say I went down there and got autographs with everybody. But I appreciated the want to actually get the fans more involved and actually make sure people are going to come to the spring game, just to, I don't want to say save face, but save face. In terms of Auburn has actually never played Tuskegee. So cool. See the comments. What's going on, Teresa, War Eagle, and meet to you. I actually I bought a UTSA hoodie, or not hoodie, a polo, because I was wanting to do a UTSA rebuild on College Ball 25. So immediate cop. And James, what's going on, James? So back to what I was saying. I think this would be a big fix for just football in general, with how everything. I mean, if you even go back to this past weekend, I mean, the news broke the morning of A-Day with Nico Iamaleava and Tennessee parting ways because of an NIL issue, which is absolutely stupid. I cannot believe that someone as young and talented as Nico would, throw away what could have been an excellent career. I think he started a lot of growing up to do. He's got a lot of development left in him, but I think it was a very stupid thing that he did. And I'm proud of Josh Heupel for I don't want to say kicking him to the curb, but basically letting him know, yeah, you're starting quarterback. Yeah, you probably do make more NIL money than anybody else, but you know what? You're not bigger than the team. Josh Heupel wants to win football games, and he doesn't need just one guy to win football games. He needs 11 on the field at one time, 11 on the field at another time, and then some guys behind that. He has a whole team that he has to win with, and it's just next guy up mentality. So that's just some of the things. My cons for A-Day is just kind of figuring out a way to fix A-Day in general, just kind of making it a spring game versus teams that could go for more exposure. I think it's a win-win for everybody. I think the schools can make money off of this to go to NIL. I think both schools could make money off of NIL from this. Like Tuskegee could as well if they were to do it. You would have broadcast teams that can go do this. SEC Network Plus, ESPN Plus, whoever's wanting it can go do it. And excuse me. And it gives actual in-game experience for all these younger guys who are, really trying to show out. And a lot of these young guys have shown out. Because when I get to my pros here, I'm going to start off with the obvious with sophomore wide receiver Perry Thompson. Dude had a game. Dude had an absolute day. Not game, but a day. There were a lot of go up and get it catches that he made. He stretched out for one into the end zone. He made a lot of big plays, and I have some of them saved on my phone, and I'll definitely have them queued up at some point. Probably for the next show, I'll get those kind of found out. I have a lot of videos. I don't even know. It's probably around the 20 to 30 mark. It's somewhere in there. Because I really wanted to see. I wanted to have like highlights of it, I guess would be the better term. But I really wanted to see how Deuce Knight played. That was the big ticket with this game. And of course, Jackson Arnold did not participate in yesterday's practice. I believe he did tweak a hamstring issue, and what Hugh Freeze said is he just didn't want to, re-aggravate it or anything along those lines, which I completely agree with. If you're treating it as a practice, it's a practice. So if you don't want him to, take a accidental hit during the live part of the scrimmage, or just a freak accident, non-contact injury kind of thing, and it just re-aggravates it, and then he's out for an extended amount of time. Take your time with Jackson Arnold, and take your time with Deuce Knight as well. I can get more into him in a second, but this wide receiver room, I mean, it's no joke when people say that this, and me being people as well, this wide receiver room is legitimately legit. Not only to Perry Thompson, who I believe a lot of people can agree was basically the MVP of the scrimmage. Cam Coleman made a lot of big grabs too. You had a good day out of Horatio Fields, who, when I've watched Horatio's highlights, I see the kind of wide receiver Auburn should be using him as, and he should be in there in like third and shorts. Like if it's 3rd and 5, Horatio Fields is to be in there. If it's in the goal line, if it's within the 10-yard line, Mark, the Horatio Fields in there. He is probably the best like 50-50 ball receiver Auburn has. And I'm saying that now because I know Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson can make an argument for that right now. But based off of actual like veteranness of it and the fact that he's a leader on the team, I like Horatio Fields a lot in this offense. And he could be a great emergency receiver. Like, hey, we need someone to get open. Jackson Arnold's running around in the pocket and trying to find anybody. Horatio is going to be somewhere. And he's big-bodied. Dude's got great hands. Was an absolute steal of a pickup Auburn got from Wake Forest. Super glad they did. I feel like he's been very underutilized in the reporting margin. I don't think anyone has talked about him enough. Eric Singleton, of course, did not participate in the practice as well. I'm not too sure what it was exactly, but he did take part in the punt returning. So he did actually catch some punts and start returning them as well, but not live. He just kind of made the catches, which I would say punt return wise, it was Eric Singleton and Malcolm Simmons back there. And I'm trying to remember exactly who the third guy was. It was a defensive back. I know it was Will Upton. Will Upton was the third guy. So 3 wide receivers taking punts. I don't think they dropped one unless it was just a bad kick. But good news all around. But yeah, this wide receiver room is going to be one for the ages. If the offense as a whole can find some balance and find some coherency, we're going to be talking about this wide receiver room for years and years and years to come. Because guys like Sam Turner, a true freshman guy, he's going to demand to see the field a lot this season. And of course, with the return of Malcolm Simmons, who did make some great grabs in the skelly periods. And dude, even Will Upton, who's about 5'9" guy, during the scrimmages, he made some great catches and made a lot of great plays for himself. Dylan Gentry got himself a touchdown pass. And I think the only guy we didn't get to really see was Eric Singleton. And that's strictly just because of the injury. But everybody else who you've heard about, you got to see in action on Saturday. And yeah, it was an in-game or a practice game situation, but I think it worked out very well for Auburn. I think overall, it comes just from me wanting to see an actual game be played on 8A. It's just from my time growing up. But I do think Saturday was a massive success for Auburn. You fan day right afterwards, got all the kids that lined up on the field. They got to go see Hugh Freeze and all the players. And of course, Obby was a really, really great time. My only con to the day actually was the fact that I got sunburnt, which I don't know if you can really tell on my face, but my ear right here, it burns. It burns. This year was in direct sunlight for about an hour and a half, and it did not feel good either. So, yeah, as a wide receiver room, absolutely balled out throughout the entire day. It was really fun to watch them in action again. My second little pro, Alex McPherson was out there. Got to see all the kickers, which I was making a joke with my dad, who I brought with the game. Brought with me to the game. Auburn has about 5 kickers on roster. And of course it's Alex McPherson, who almost made a 55-yarder. It was like this close off. And if you're watching the audio, listen to audio version, it's like as close as my fingers can get before they're touching. If it was like a few inches to the right, it would have went right through the bottom left corner of the goalpost. That's what you want to see about Alex McPherson. Ian Vachon made some kicks. Got to see Connor Gibbs make some kicks, and Towns Magoo made some kicks. Then we could see a lot of the punters. They kind of just were in situational periods, just kind of coffin corners. You're going to the season, and it's Hudson Cock and Alex McPherson are your starting special teamers. So big ups to them. But yeah, I'm super, super glad to see McPherson back out there doing his thing and looking the part. It definitely was one of the worst parts of the season was not having him out there. So glad he's healthier, and glad he's back out there absolutely kicking the crap out of the ball. So super stoked to see him. And let's go back to the comments for a second. The weakest link, Tennessee made the right call. Definitely. I completely agree with that. James Barnett, at some point, these parents need to be called out as well. Just wondering how much of this was him. Not excusing him at all, though, just saying. I do know his dad, Nico's dad, to play a big part into that. But I can go more in depth. I can't say more depth, but more opinions on that I can go over after the 8A conversation. Again, James Burnett, this is the best wide receiver in the country. I completely agree after what I saw on Saturday. All right, my third pro from 8A. So Jackson Arnold, again, did not participate in the 8A activities. He was right there behind both quarterbacks. The only 2 guys you got to see, though, was John Colvin, the walk-on sophomore, who changed his number from number 20 to number 16, which I think was a great call for him, especially with 20's just – Doug Flutie wore it, and it was all fine and dandy. After that, he wore 22, but regardless. You got to see a lot of Deuce Knight. A lot of Deuce Knight. And, all through practice, you're hearing how much he's progressing. And, everyone and their mother will agree Deuce Knight was not going to be the starting quarterback this season. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. Deuce Knight was never going to be the starting quarterback this season unless he just walks out on the field and he's just Cam Newton 2.0. And he's just got everything already down pat, making every single throw on the field, doing all the things correctly, which he was doing in a way. He was progressing very nicely. Hugh Freeze mentioned this in the press conference, on several press conferences, how great Deuce Knight has been maturing and has been developing. But he did have 2 interceptions during A-Day. I'm not going to hold on to it. I'm not going to hold on too much. Of course, it's a practice, so he didn't blow any games by throwing these interceptions, but they were very bad reads. I don't say very, but they were bad reads. Not bad throws, bad reads. He kind of just let it go. And oddly enough, it was some freshman guys that got those picks too. I think it was Anquan Fegans and Eric Winters who got those picks. So big ups to them getting those. But yeah, I think what I saw from Deuce Knight is a freshman quarterback who has all of the arm talent in the world. And that's what I wanted to see from him. Would I have loved to see a perfect day from Deuce Knight with no interceptions and just a whole lot of touchdowns? Absolutely. I think everyone would have wanted to. But that's not the goal of a practice. The practice is there to find those mistakes that you need to work on. You learn a lot more from failure than you do from success. And watching those interceptions and hearing Hugh Freeze talk about it, he would throw it, he would go over to Hugh, and he would immediately tell him what he did wrong. And of course, the second one happened. He would go over to Hugh, tell him exactly what he did wrong. And he got it right. Hugh Freeze praised him for it, which that's what I want to see from a freshman quarterback. Hugh Freeze has mentioned on full out flat several times, Deuce Knight needs to develop. I don't know if he said that exactly, but he needs to develop. 2026 is the year where I'm looking at Deuce Knight all right, you got that year behind you, you're red shirted, time to see what you can do on the field with the ones. And you know what? I was fairly impressed with how good his arm was. There was one, it was a 30-yard pass, which all the Skelly periods and everything was within the 30-yard pass. And it was absolutely beautiful. He kind of coasted out to the left. He's left-handed. He'd be the first starting left-handed quarterback for Auburn since Brandon Cox in 2008, 2007. So I was a kid. I was 7 years old. He coasted out to the left, just a tad bit, not all the way out, and he just zipped a ball 30 yards. And it wasn't high. It was bullet pass, beautifully thrown ball right into Cam Coleman's breadbasket. Absolutely gorgeous pass, and I wish and I hope that I have it on video. I don't know if I do, but if I do, believe me, I'm going to have that video, and I will show it to you if I have it, because it was absolutely beautiful. And of course, he made a lot of great passes like that. He made some throws to Perry Thompson where there were 50-50 balls and made sure Perry was the only one that can get it. Cam Coleman made a great 50-50 catch in the corner of the end zone over a freshman defensive back, number 22, blanking on his name right now. Not Devin Williams. Good Lord. You think I'd know things at this point in my life. Let's see, 22 defensive. I know he's a freshman, and it wasn't Blake Woodby. Blake Woodby's number 12. And it's going to bite at me until Donovan Starr. There we go. Donovan Starr. And it was pretty good coverage. It was just you can't do much whenever you're playing against Cam Coleman. Which great thing to see. Great thing to see. But yeah, I'm super stoked to watch Deuce Knight in action, whatever it is his time. This year's the Jackson Arnold year. It's the Arnold era. And if watching what Jackson Arnold was able to do with Oklahoma last year, and had some high points, had some low points, but you played at Oklahoma. Oklahoma didn't have a starting lineup for the majority of their season. When they played Auburn in week 4, they were on their 5th and 6th string wide receivers, and they were the starting offense. And of course, Jackson Arnold played that game, but regardless, that's besides the point right now. I think Jackson Arnold has all the tools readily available to him to really shine this season. And best case scenario for Auburn is, I don't say best case, but one of the most reasonable scenarios that would be on the good side for Auburn will be 8 wins. And Jackson Arnold has a great year, shows that he is not matured, but developed into the quarterback everyone knows he can be. And then the decision gets made whether or not he can go to the NFL draft. If he's sought after highly, he could go to the draft after having a great 1 year with Auburn, and then Deuce Knight just gets put in right there in the starting spot. And with a year, if Hugh Freeze is half the developer that he says he is, I'm going to be super stoked, more than I am already, to finally get to see Deuce Knight take the field. He'll probably play this year in those scenarios where the game is well out of hand for the winning side for Auburn before we really get to see him. I'd probably say like a Mercer, or I would hopefully like to say Ball State or all those other teams Auburn gets to play. Best case scenario, Auburn's up by 45 versus Alabama, and you see Deuce Knight throw a touchdown pass against Alabama. That's the best case scenario. But yeah, super stoked to see Deuce Knight show out. That arm is it's special. That is a special quarterback right there. I looked at my dad after he made one throw, and I said, Deuce Knight might be the most talented quarterback Auburn's ever got out of high school. And whether or not that's saying a lot is up for debate, but I mean, you're looking at guys like Bo Nix. You're looking at guys like, I want to say Malik Willis. Malik Willis was very talented. Jeremy Johnson, which again, not really. Jeremy Johnson was extremely talented going into Auburn, I will say. But like Jason Campbell. There's a list, and I probably butchered that list a lot by using two guys in the middle that didn't really play that much or play that well for Auburn. But Deuce Knight has every single tangible you want out of a high school quarterback. He's got the arm talent. He's got the arm. He's got the mobility. He's got the mindset. He's got the maturity that you want right out of high school. And in general, I mean, that's a package that you're not expecting to get in that time period between senior to high school to college freshman. It's not something you're really expecting. And that's something Auburn's getting. So super special to watch Deuce Knight show out, and glad he got to get the majority of that. And I also will say, don't sleep on John Colvin. John Colvin had himself a practice too. I must say, John Colvin made a lot of impressive throws for a guy that I was really not expecting to see that much. I mean, I didn't know what I expected to see. I didn't know if I just expected to see Deuce Knight just throw his arm out of a socket the entire practice, because I knew Jackson was going to participate. But it would just been really interesting to see what would have happened there. Ashton Daniels, I do believe, was on campus. I did see Ashton Daniels walking around on the field before the game. Was not in pads or in a jersey or anything, but I could tell it looked like Ashton Daniels. But it looked like he was on the field, not dressed out, not participating. Of course, he won't be able to join the team until the summer. But if the NCAA would have let him, it would have been really cool to see him kind of go out there too, because he should be the guy shoehorned in the 2 spot. And then Deuce, only in the case of Auburn wanting to burn that red shirt, should put Deuce Knight in this season. So, and my last little tidbit for my pros, freshmen were balling out. And I mentioned it ahead of time. Sam Turner and the wide receivers, I mean, they were having themselves a day. Sam Turner made a lot of great catches and a lot of great efforts on some catches that maybe got a little out of hand. Blake Woodby made a lot of great plays as well. No, he did have a couple of penalties called on him, but other than that, he was really good in coverage. A lot of his wide receivers didn't get targeted, and when they did, of course, he was interfering with it once. Of course, Eric Winters and Anquan Fegans both out there getting picks. Was really great to see those two show out. Other than that, I mean, this entire freshman class is going to be something special. I am super stoked to see how this team kind of matures, and that first game versus Baylor. I mean, right now it's hard for me not to pick that to be a win. There's probably more of biasness because I'm an Auburn fan, and I'm just hoping that Auburn comes out, the best version of themselves possible. But these freshmen are going to be ridiculous. And something that I was listening to the War Report of the day, and because I don't want to act like I heard this, but I did hear the post conference. But Ike really stuck out this one to me was the fact that Hugh Freeze didn't really he didn't dodge around the questions of how good Auburn was going to be this year. This, instead of saying, "Oh, I need another recruiting class," or we're gonna go out there and do our best and have fun. He said that Auburn's going to be competitive this year. He said Auburn will be competitive this season. And from what I've seen and from what I've heard, if it's not all, a smokescreen, this team looks good. This team should be a team that I've said teams 3 times in a row that other opponents should be, very eerie of. And I mentioned Baylor being the first game of the season. It's going to be on Friday, August 29th. I don't know if the time has been announced yet for that game. I believe it would probably be the later game. At Baylor, I don't really know a lot about Baylor, but I want to say if this team plays like they're supposed to, Auburn should win this game. Auburn should really start off the year 3-0. And then after that, you're really looking at conversations. Oklahoma, I'm not sure yet. A&M, I got to see more. Georgia, Missouri. I got to do a lot more research on SEC teams because I know a lot about some of them, but overall, 8-4 is perfectly in reach here. This defense, as I said before, this defense has everything in their holster to be a top 5 defense in the SEC, maybe even higher than that. This defensive line, I didn't see a lot of great runs from Auburn during A-Day, which I'm not going to say too much about the running back room during A-Day because I don't think Auburn's ever really ran the ball that well during their practice games. But the defensive line made it very hard for everybody to get yards. Damari, Cobb, Darrell, A-Train, Christian Burnett, I think was the only one that actually broke more than a 5-yard run. This defense is going to be legit. And those freshmen that are already going out there and balling out, you got guys who are returning, like Keldrick Falk, like DeMarcus Riddick, who didn't get the chance to participate in practice on Saturday, but those two are going to be absolutely ridiculous. Elijah Melendez got a chance to be with the ones, and he did very well, as he should. He's wearing Eugene Asante's number. This secondary also, someone said this to me earlier, said it on Twitter. This secondary could be one of the best in the SEC as well. All these young guys together, this team should be competitive in every single game. I should not be able to walk out of a single game or a single loss this season and say, dang, we just didn't have it that day. I should be able to say we were this close to winning. I don't think we should be able to look at a game and get blown out. Whether that be Georgia, that be Alabama, that be Mercer, that be Vanderbilt, no team should be able to blow Auburn out this year. If Auburn loses, I want to be able to say Auburn, one thing went wrong. Hopefully I don't get to talk about, hopefully I don't talk about any Auburn losses this year. I would love Auburn to go what is it now, 16-0? That's perfect world. But Auburn, I might be bugging. I might be bugging a little bit. But yeah, 8-4 seems perfectly in the wheelhouse for Auburn, especially with this team is so talented. They got the recruiting classes you wanted. You got everything you wanted out of the past 3 years. And you're, backs against the wall at this point. This should be an 8-win team. This should be an 8-4 team. So, got some comments going to go through. See, going back up here to Felix the Cat. Dylan, you are right about this wide receiver room. It is dynamite. I cannot wait for the season to start. And I believe Auburn takes it to Baylor. It's going to be tight, but Auburn comes out with the win. I agree with that. I would, again, need to do more research on Baylor before I fully make a prediction on that. I will have a week-by-week prediction series, 12 weeks for the season starts, 13 weeks for the season starts. Leading up to, spending another time on Baylor again. Got I believe a Baylor fan in the comment section. Baylor wins at home. It don't matter. Baylor has the best quarterback between the two. Our offense is going to be dynamite. Defense is much improved. It will be a great game, but the home cooking is going to be enough. Be interesting. Be an interesting game. So yeah, Baylor doesn't play Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss, etc. Baylor doesn't play in the SEC. Convo is over now. I will say, I'm not going to sleep on anybody in the Big 12 anymore. That game is going to be close. It's going to be a close one, being week 1. But after that, Auburn should be able to handle business in the next 2 weeks. So that's my 8A conversation. Thank you all for tuning in for the 8A conversation. We're going to continue on with the show right after a quick little break from my sponsor, which is me, talking about the College Loop merch. After that, we got some football news to talk about, and the rest of the show will be spent talking about the stuff that I missed out on when I missed Thursday. So stay tuned. It'll be right back.
Are you tired of having to rummage through just clothes after clothes after clothes looking for something to wear? Are you tired of your friends making fun of you for your terrible fashion sense? Well, do we have the shirt for you? Go to thewarreport.com, get your laptop out and do it right now. Go to the shop and get your very own Feelin' Loopy t-shirt as well as your College Loop hat, and you can get both of them for only $25 each. Plus shipping and handling, of course. But with that, now back to your regular scheduled program.
So yeah, check out the merch at thewarreport.com. Go to the shop, second page. You'll find the College Loop merch, the hat, then the Field Loopy t-shirt. Most comfortable items you can wear in your entire life. Of course, that's only one way to support the channel. The best way to support the College Loop is, of course, by liking the video, by commenting on a video, and by subscribing. We're getting so very close to 1,000 subscribers. Been stuck at 942 for a little bit. So it'd be super cool to reach that milestone. We want to reach that. I've reached, I think, 1,000 followers on one page ever, but that page has been retired for now, at least. But regardless, super thankful to everybody who has subscribed to the channel. Big love to everybody, to all 940 plus of y'all that are subscribed. Big love to all of y'all. So now to get some headlines that we missed out on since last time we conversed with each other. So the recent news, football news at least, Terrence Love has announced yesterday that he will be entering the NCAA transfer portal when the spring cycle opens. He was his third year. He's played 2 years, about 7 tackles and a pass deflection. It's in terms of pros and cons of this, it does suck losing a key part to the defense, a key depth piece to this defense. But I think it speaks aloud to how good the freshmen have been thus far. Eric Winters and Anquan Fegans are going to demand playing time early, and they've shown out in every practice they've been in. So really can't wait to see those two. They were so good. The highlights I got to watch of them whenever they signed and during their recruitment process, they were nothing short of just phenomenal words. Great. They were great in high school. And see that transition from high school to college and them not skipping a single beat was great to see. So I wish Terrence Love the best of luck wherever he may go, unless it's Alabama or Georgia. But I think that does speak very heavily to how good Auburn's secondary has been and how good those young guys are that are stepping in right away. All right. Now, another news, going to basketball now. Ja'Kai Howard announced he'll be entering the NCAA transfer portal. Of course, last season didn't really see too much of Ja'Kai. There was a lot of maturity issues that were mentioned, but from all sources that I've heard, definitely throughout the year, you got to see a lot of growth from Ja'Kai. Again, I wish him the best of luck. Would love it if there was a pathway for him to come back. If there is, I hope he takes it. Dude's got a lot of talent. And pairing him and letting him have that year to kind of sit and play what he could, I think would be very beneficial to have him back if he can, or if he would. Ja'Kai Howard, just the talent level is over the charts, off the charts. There we go. But best of luck to Ja'Kai again. Best of luck only if you go anywhere besides anywhere besides Alabama and Georgia. You get my best of luck call. All right, continuing on. So women's basketball, they were able to pick up a 4-star commit. Harrison, I had it pulled up on my thing, on my laptop, but I closed it. Let me see if I can pull this up. 4-star guard be the first pick. Harrison Kusabali. I'm saying it right. Was really the first pickup for the Coach Vickers era. So super stoked to see that. He's still got a lot of work to do going forward, transfer portal wise, high school wise. Going to have to pick up a lot of people, a lot of players to fill out a roster that can play basketball. Really, I feel like at this point you got to get at least 5 to put a team out there I think a lot of this kind of resides on how much NIL the women's basketball team will be given whenever the pool opens up or however the pool works. Believe me, Mike G has more knowledge of the pool of NIL money Auburn will be getting than I do. But I know he's been very adamant about seeing or hearing where exactly the money will be diverted to, how much will actually go to women's basketball and whatnot. Which, I mean, with how Coach Vickers has run his program before at Norfolk, he built it. And in past 2 years with its NCAA tournament, I do not doubt what he can do with Auburn backing him. I just need Auburn to back him. It's as simple and easy as that. Baseball news: first time since 1988, Auburn sweeps number 3. Sweeps LSU, but in this case, all sweeps number 3 LSU. Absolute great day and a great season thus far. A great weekend in general for Auburn Athletics. So super stoked to hear that news. Sadly, I got to miss most of those games. I had to hear about them through Twitter notifications. So yeah, big ups to Coach Butch and company over there. Softball wise, don't let the Tigers get hot. 2 back-to-back weekends of Auburn getting an SEC series win. This time against the Georgia Bulldogs this week. Last week was against Kentucky. And Auburn had to win it in the most dramatic fashion possible. Tied 4-4 in the bottom of the 7th inning. KK McCrary steps up to the plate and absolutely cracks one over the fence for a walk-off grand slam to clinch the series 2-1. And, you know, it might be too late to talk about anything postseason-wise. I kind of depends on how much that early season kind of plays a part in this. Early on, the conference season did not look good. But not holding that against Malvo's. Definitely have a roster to build, and I trust that they're gonna get Auburn softball right in a year or so. Full trust in them to rebuild and reload Auburn softball. Auburn should never need a rebuild. It's always a reloading period. But if they continue on, I mean, they got, I think, a series or 2 left in the SEC, and then I know they have NC State to end out the season before SEC tournament play starts. So, but yeah, super stoked for back-to-back series wins, especially. I don't know if Kentucky was ranked, but I know Georgia, in fact, was ranked. So super stoked to see Georgia going down in a sport by the Auburn Tigers. And then last little tidbit, Auburn gymnastics missed out on this conversation. Did not get a chance to talk about this. Auburn season lost or down in the regional. But 2 Tigers do get to continue on. Olivia Greaves will be taking on the Nationals on bars. And Gabe McLaughlin will be taking on the Nationals on beam. So you get to see those 2 in action on April 17th. So just a few days. We'll talk more about that later on, kind of see who they're going up against. It'll be on the Thursday show. But yeah, super stoked to hear Auburn getting chances at national championships. I do know that Auburn's men's wheelchair basketball did win a national championship. So super stoked for them. That was like a month ago though. So late on that, but super stoked to hear Auburn got championships going on. But yeah, still regardless, super stoked for everything going around at Auburn. I think it was a very successful weekend in general. Baseball and softball both getting dubs, and of course, didn't have a bad time at 8A. But yeah, would love to see the NCAA allow teams to play each other for their spring games. I think it'd be very beneficial to both teams. Yet again, I will keep preaching that. I think my first time I ever thought about it was during a press conference I attended last season during spring. He free said it, and it didn't really cross my mind that would be a great idea. And then I kind of sat and thought about it. It's I don't know what the NCAA is thinking by not doing this. I think this is just another reason why the NCAA just should not exist anymore, because it's just such a great idea. Again, I don't think there's really anything in the rule book that says they can't do it. I think the worst comes to worst, the NCAA could just fine them, or I don't think they can't do any suspensions or any postseason regulations. I don't think there's a lot they can really do. Because say a bunch of teams started doing it. Say you had like Bama and Georgia and Michigan and Ohio State. You had all these people, all these teams doing it. Are they going to suspend every single team? No. Because you're going to suspend them from the postseason. It's going to leave you with what? A bunch of G5 teams? Somebody doesn't want that. That's not going to make them any money. I say go for it. I think next year you might see teams start doing it, like just despite what the NCAA says. So, regardless, I'm trying to go through some of these comments. I know there's a Baylor fan in the comment section that James is just arguing with, which I fully support. I love arguing with other fans. So, I think that's the majority of the comments. Karen Parker, welcome to the live stream. I saw that comment coming through. But yeah, that's going to do it for this time of the College League podcast. Of course, thank you all for tuning in. Let me know what your thoughts were of 8A if you attended. How do you think 8A could improve in the future? What do you think about them playing like an Alabama State or a Tuskegee for spring games in general? And also, check us out on all social media platforms, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. The works, the College Loop, all those beautiful social media platforms right here on YouTube as well. Make sure to subscribe. Super stoked if you did that. Check us out, audio versions of the show, Spotify Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and of course you got me as well on Twitter at YaBoyTheTank, at YABOY the Tank, and Instagram as well at Dylan Larck, DYLENLRCK. I do plan on trying to post a lot more football stuff because I do want to start covering more of the SEC, like having this Auburn centric and doing another thing SEC centric. That is a plan in the works, but trying to figure out the logistics behind that. But stay tuned for that and more information I can give you on that that blueprint. It's a blueprint right now. It's in the early stages of development. So yeah, with that being said, thanks for this of the College League podcast yet again. I will see you all on Tuesday. Continue this conversation about Auburn Athletics, probably another football conversation, potentially talking about some freshmen that we can see balling out. It'll be another freshman show. So with that being said, thanks for some of the College League podcast yet again. Can I overstate how much I'm thankful for every single one of y'all for tuning in. And as always, War Eagle.